We're speaking about, in chapter 6, began with the animal soul / vital soul / natural soul / evil inclination, many other slashes and or other ways that it could be expressed, but those are the expressions in Tanya at least. And we spoke that unlike a common understanding that it's just an inclination of the person, but it's a full embodiment of a soul that has intelligence, that has emotions, strong desire, pleasure, and all those things that make it into what it is. A self-directed, self-oriented. And today we're going to speak more about that soul, that the vitalizing soul, another term, nefesh achiyunis, a vitalizing soul. It comes from klipa, but it comes from a klipa, the klipas noiga, that is an admixture of good and evil. It has some goodness in there. It is found, as opposed to the godly soul that's primarily in the brain, it is found in the blood of the person, not physically blood, that if you get transfusion that you get now a different vitalizing soul, no. But it's there in spirit, shall we say, that gives vitality, just as the blood gives vitality to the individual. So likewise, this vitalizing soul is giving vitality, physical life. Also, all of the things that are not contrary to Torah, like the 365 prohibitions of the Torah. So anything that is of that nature, of a mundane matter, that is every act, utterance, or thought that, again, contains no forbidden aspect to it, not from the biblical laws or rabbinic law, yet are not done for the sake of heaven, right? What does it mean for the sake of heaven? So we're talking about an action of eating, an action of business, right? So business that's done for the sake of heaven means that you work in order to feed your family, in order to provide a Jewish education for your Jewish kids, Torah and mitzvahs, and that you are charitable. So that's doing business for the sake of heaven. That's with an intent. But here we're talking about without that intent, right? Like the intent of eating that would supply energy in order that you could do a mitzvah, like now, studying Torah and the like. That's all done with mindfulness for the sake of heaven. But you're not doing it for the sake of heaven, but it's not contrary to the law of heaven, right? In other words, there's still a will, desire, and a lust of the body. And even when the body needs it for self-preservation, the things, whether it's clothing, food, shelter, and so on. So this is kind of like a middle ground. It's missing spiritual intent, right? But is not a outright transgression against God. So that vitality that is in this instance is klipas nega, is the middle ground, and for most of the world of action, it is what this world is made up of, world of Asiya. The truth is on all the spiritual worlds, there's also this klipas noiga, but as the spiritual realms are higher and higher, like the world of Yetzirah, it's a mixture of equal good and evil. The world of Bria is more good than evil, but our world is more evil than good. That's the nature of this world. As we explained yesterday, that's why this world is very harsh, and evil people have an upper hand. They have an upper hand. In other words, it's easier to be evil and to get away with things and so on and so forth. At least, definitely in the short term. But that's the nature of this world, right? Now, there is still some good in the negativity of this world. So when we're talking about the soul, the vitalizing soul, the animal soul, there is good in it. And that's where the virtuous qualities of the animal soul that an individual, when they're prompted by their animal soul, not their godly soul, but their animal soul, can be very compassionate and very giving. But again, as we learned in chapter 1, it's very self-directed. It is for the the benefit that a person has by feeling good, or a sense of accomplishment or whatever. That is not for the sake of heaven. That is goodness for self-directed purposes. So that's also incorporated over here. Now, this klipas noiga, which is an intermediary category between complete negativity, which is shalish klipas, it's the three completely unclean klipa. Negativity, klipa is a shell, remember, the covering over on the divine light and divine vitality, and that which is holy, kedusha, sanctity. So it's the middle ground that sometimes these will be absorbed, the middle ground. In other words, that which is not for the sake of heaven, but not against heaven. Sometimes it will be absorbed into completely unholiness, and sometimes it will be absorbed and elevated into sanctity. So here he gives the example of where the good that's intermingled in this klipas noiga, this mixture of good and evil, of the things of this world. He's going to give an example so we can appreciate what this means. But the idea is that we take the good, extract it, separate it, and elevate it into being absorbed into kedusha, into holiness, into sanctity. So he gives an example of these neutral things that are possible. So quoting from the Talmud, that it, as what said, when one of the sages, he ate fat beef and drank spiced wine, not for the physical desire, but in order to broaden his mind in the service of God in his Torah. Rava said that the wine and the fragrance made his mind more receptive to learning God's wisdom. So there is an example of taking food and drink and elevating it. Or on Shabbos, it's a mitzvah for a Jew to have pleasure on Shabbos through physical enjoyment of food. So here is the you don't even have to have intent, as in the case of the fine wine and the spiced meat, or the fat beef that helped him to learn better. But just on Shabbos, there's a mitzvah to enjoy. So here, the food and drink, of course, it's got to be kosher, that can be elevated by the mere fact that you're having pleasure through it in the celebration of Shabbos or holidays. So what is happening at this time? You're extracting there's an admixture of good and evil, that this middle ground, klipas noiga, could go either be debased or it could be elevated. And here you're elevating it. Or, for example, that's in action, in speech. So Rabbah, the Talmud tells, Rabbah says that before he would give his discourse, teach to his students, he would make a humorous remark. Why would he make a humorous remark? Just to look good, to make, no, in order to elevate his students. Because when you make a humorous remark, the students then are more attuned. And then he was able to go into his subject matter and to teach Torah in a way that grabbed, the students. So here's another example of where the intent in the humorous remark, if you make a humorous remark to put another person down, well, that's not really good at all. That's complete evil. If you make a humorous remark just to make yourself look good, right, and that you're the funny guy, may not be a transgression, but it's not elevated. But here, taking a humorous remark with an intent in order to be able to uplift the students, to make them more attuned and attentive. Maybe something I got to do more of, to add that in our classes. That is now taking the good that's mixed with the negativity, because a humorous remark can go either way. And obviously, if it's a humorous remark that's putting somebody down, then no. If it's a humorous remark that is off-colored, no. We're talking about, a kosher humorous remark. That doesn't mean it's intended to be for an elevated, sanctified purpose. Right. So that's it. Today's class. And we thank you all. Sandy, Elchanan, Gracie, Andrea, Shaheen, Darren, Jeremy, all right, Sarah Malka, Erica from Norway, Marcy from Teaneck, New Jersey, Karen from California, Andrew from New Jersey, Jane from the Chicago area, Marianne, Florida, Ernie from Mississippi. All right, folks, thank you all for joining. And we have Mariah, thank you for joining. Tomer, I think, I don't know if I got that right, from Italy. Jonathan, thank you. Thank you. We eat food in order that we could elevate the kosher food. A Jew has to eat kosher, and it's for a Jew at least, and then use it in order to give us strength so we could serve God, so we could do what we need to do, whether it's to study Tanya like we're doing now. So for some of us, we had to eat before we learn, in order to give us the strength that we could focus. Because imagine if your stomach is growling and you can't focus. So then eat something in order that you could indeed focus and you could devote yourself to the learning in the appropriate way. That's an example, right? All right, folks. Wishing everybody a happy new year. 2020. We need 2020 vision, right? Even with glasses, we can have 2020 visions, in order that we could take the light of Tanya and bring it to the world. That's what 2020 has to be. A year to bring Tanya to the world. Well, at least all of us together, let's do that. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you, Chabad Zichron Kadesh in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege, a pleasure to share with you, Tanya. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful new year, and let us start this year as we have together in such a wonderful way, and continue to do this on a daily basis if you can. If you can't, then as often as you can, join us, and of course, to share it with others. Have a great day.